Hello, everyone. My name is Samuel Egharevba, and my demonstrative speech today is on the history of stick figures. So I'm going to share my screen with everyone here. And let's see. Okay. So if everyone can see my screen here, the history of stick figures. So when I was thinking about making my demonstrative speech, I kind of dabbled in between a couple of ideas to do for my speech. But what notably kind of stood out to me was just the history of stick figures. It's such a simplistic thing to draw a stick figure, and so many of us have used it in many different ways, starting from kindergarten all the way up to college now. It's a very easy and adaptable thing for everyone to kind of use, and it doesn't really take much skill. But at the same time, I personally had never really had given much thought into how or like where it has originated from, why they were there. We've just kind of come on to the usage of it without really kind of giving it much thought to where it kind of came from. So the first part of this demonstrative speech is really just going to be informing the audience, you all, basically on its history, and then we'll kind of go into more detail about how to actually draw a stick figure and all its variations. So the stick figure is very simplistic in its drawing, and it can be an animal or a human of any type. Um, Again, it usually just consists of two legs and two arms, a neck, and a body. But you can usually take it a step further by adding eyes and a mouth and even some hair, which can be colored any color you like. And you can even take it a step further than that and add fingernails and toes and fingers, just to give it a more kind of realistic type of depiction. So here we actually have what are called petroglyphs, and basically petroglyphs are just rock carvings, excuse me, especially historic ones. And the first petroglyphs which embody stick figures were made on caves in Europe, Africa, and Australia over 50,000 years ago. And a lot of archaeologists who still study these petroglyphs today, claim that these stick figures had, magical and religious meaning. These petroglyphs kind of held these powerful uh, cultural symbols that reflect, monuments and, sacred landscape. And they had traditional ceremonies that took place, and usually the depictions and the drawings and the interactions that you would see between different stick figures on these rock carvings was indicative of how they were um, how they were going about their sacred and spiritual lives during this period of time. So here in the 1920s, Otto Neurath, he created what was called the isotope, which is just the international system of typographic picture education, which uh, which is where he used quantitative and qualitative data, and he displayed this data by using symbols that everybody can understand and digest and recognize. That way, anyone from a little child can recognize this, all the way up to an adult. And he described this as a helping language and a visual education. A lot of us, I know myself personally, are visual learners. And Ottawa Neurath, he was this Austrian Austrian philosopher and sociologist and political economist who kind of was able to pick up on how most people were visual learners and were able to carry out certain duties more effectively if they were able to see depictions that look like them carrying out certain tasks. So that was kind of um, Otto Neurath's kind of goal in kind of creating isotype. And here, if we kind of look to the left, we see he kind of creates colors to directly match a certain climate. So, for instance, if we look here, I don't know if you can see my mouse or not, but he has the cold continental, and he has that as blue. And to depict that it's cold or a very cold winter, he has used this stick figure, which is just a more kind of advanced modification of just your basic stick figure, and he's placed more clothing on this specific individual. And here we have a prairie where the color of the box is now pink. It's a lighter color to indicate that it's more warmer. Um, and this is just a cool winter, so it's not a very cold winter, but it's cool, and less clothing is placed on this specific stick figure, and it's so on and so forth. So, in the 1964 Tokyo Summer Olympics, two graphic designers actually began the initial steps in kind of creating the first international pictograms. There actually isn't a listed picture that I'm able to show you here, but this was just the picture of the advertisement for the Tokyo 1964 Summer Olympics. But these two graphic designers were able to kind of create the first initial basis for the international usage of pictograms, and a lot of these depictions that we see on a day-to-day basis. Then in 1972, in the Munich Summer Olympics, Eicher kind of design these round geometric stick figures that we kind of still use today. So we see someone here ice skating, and we see someone here who's playing hockey. And this was just an elaboration off of the initial pictograms that these two graphic designers had made in 1964, and it's just a little more advanced because you have more depth and more detail to these stick figures. And Eicher was even able to take this a step further and create a symbol where it has become recognized throughout the whole world today. And it's this pictograph that we still continue to make modifications off today if we look at how our lawmakers are deciding new laws concerning which gender goes into a specific bathroom. They still use this pictograph, as the basis for how to determine how they want to inform the public about which bathroom is which. So, but this started from Eicher. And here in 1979, AI GA, which is the American Institute of Graphic Arts, actually commissioned the U.S. Department of Transportation to develop public symbols to help people to go from one place to the next. And basically, this is the type of pictogram that we're most used to seeing. We see it in airports, we see it in train stations, we see this in hotels, etc. And this kind of just helps everyday people and tourists get from one place to the next. And basically, if you just think of your commute from your house to school or from your apartment to school or from anywhere to work, you're going to utilize these pictographs on a daily basis. So this, in a lot of ways, has just become a universal language that we're all able to understand, and it's very flexible and adaptable to where it can be adapted to a point where you can have it altered to where people who don't speak the same language as you can also still understand what is happening and where to go. If you look at an airport, it doesn't matter what language that you speak. Something like baggage claim. If they're able to see a bag, they're able to put two and two together to be able to understand that they need to go get their bags here, and that an elevator is here. So it really has just become this universal language that we all use today, and this all kind of started from this initial petroglyph that we've seen, that we first saw initially 50,000 years ago in caves in Europe, Africa, and Australia. So just to see this progression of rock carvings now coming to modern day 2020, having it be this universal language is something that's pretty amazing. So let me stop sharing here. Okay, so now I'll kind of take everyone through the typical drawing of a stick figure and kind of go through the variations that you can draw. So I'm actually going to be using my iPad and my Apple Pencil. But with drawing stick figures, as it goes just with any drawing, this can be used. You can draw a stick figure on a regular notebook paper with a pencil. You can draw stick figures with paint colors and watercolors on a canvas. Me personally, I've just chosen to use my iPad and my Apple Pencil just because it's more convenient for me. But it really doesn't matter. For the basic drawing of a stick figure, with just the two legs and the two arms, the body and the neck and the head, I personally like to start from the head. So I'll go ahead and I'll draw a circle. It's a little bit of a lopsided circle. I don't know if you all can see that. I'll scoot this a little closer. I don't know if you all can see that, but it's a little bit of a lopsided circle. But I kind of just like to work my way from the head all the way down. So the next thing I'll do after I've drawn the head is draw the body. And at this point, I've already drawn the body, and all I need to do is draw two legs and two arms. So I draw my two legs, and then you can see that there, two legs. and then my two arms. Now, this is a very kind of lopsided, wiggly type of stick figure, but that's the beauty of stick figure art. It doesn't require this special expertise. And again, it kind of goes back to that adaptability and kind of just universal language because you don't need to be this uh, crazy good artist to draw a stick figure. Anyone from a really young child to a full grown adult can draw stick figures because of its simplicity. So that adaptability and that ability to reach such a wide array of people um, resides in just the simplistic nature of the stick figure. So from here, you have, I mean, basically your normal stick figure, but you can always add variations um, and different um, embodiments to the stick figure. So here, if I wanted to take this a step further, say I wanted to make the stick figure a little more realistic, I could go ahead and draw myself a pair of eyes. I know that may probably may be a little hard to see. Oops, let's get just a little closer. Hopefully that's easier to see. But I just drew myself a pair of eyes there, and then I could draw myself a nose right there. And it's a simple drawing of a nose, and then just a little smile. And then if I did want to take it just a step further, I could draw some hair on this stick figure. I've drawn myself some hair with this stick figure, and the great thing about this adaptability is that you can draw whatever stick figure or whatever type of embodiments you choose. It's up to you. I chose to make this stick figure have curly hair, but I could always switch it up and say I wanted to erase this. Maybe I don't want curly hair anymore. Maybe I want uh, the stick figure to have straight hair. So I could make the hair straight and a little more upright. That way, my stick figure art stands out a little more. It really is up to you. And then from there, um, I can take it a step further and draw some fingers. So I typically just do a three-fingered stick figure. Um, you can draw five fingers. Again, it's up to you. But I use three fingers on both sides, and then I can top it off with either drawing some toes or I can draw a pair of shoes. So I'll decide that I want to draw a pair of shoes, and then here you go. This is basically as basic as you can probably get. Um, you could probably get a little more basic than this actually, just without any of the hair and any of the fingers and shoes. But keeping this same type of embodiment, you can have a stick figure that doesn't have to be so straight. So if I start again with the head, I can have that head and I can keep that body, but the arms, let's say now I want them curved. I could I can make the arms kind of curved now, and then I could add the legs to be curved as well, which is just a different variation off of your regular straight line type of stick figure. You can have it be more curved, if you so please. And then here, I can do a little hair to represent that it's a girl. Long hair to represent that it's a girl, excuse me. And another variation off of that could be you start with the head, and you could actually make the body just as it is and have the arms be a little more square like, which is just again just a, a, a small fraction of the number of variations that you can uh, do with a stick figure. So basically, that is my presentation um, on how the history of stick figures have evolved, and basically how to draw a stick figure. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation.